Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. Happy opening day, DK Show, coming to you from the TDS Sports Talk studios this morning. Appreciate you tuning in wherever, however you may be tuning in. If it's on those radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also available to stream up online at sportstalk1051.com. You got your Alexa devices, your Google devices, video stream rolling as well. Download the app, take it on the go. All that different stuff, all those different ways for you to tune in. Shoe Doctor's bullpen line. Also up and rolling, you can start to hit us up with some messages, 715-830-1912. Bee's mom already chiming in, saying happy opening day to all from Brandon's mom. Greatest day of the year. Let's go Brewers. I predict 90 wins, and we kick the Cubs' butts. So with that, that is a part of our game plan here this morning. We're going to talk lots of Brewers here as we get set for opening day this afternoon, 1:10 first pitch against the Chicago Cubbies. You will be able to listen to it on the radio dials, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. But we want your predictions, season predictions, your just whatever kind of other baseball predictions you want to throw out there, World Series predictions, all that good stuff. So, in helping us to preview this upcoming Brewer season, Brewers reporter Hunter Baumgart's going to be joining us again, coming up at 7:30. So, before he's off to the ballpark, he will be joining us here this morning to talk all things Brewers. But we have the opening day roster that the Brewers released yesterday. No big surprises on there, I wouldn't say so, but. You can take a look at it online. I mean, regulars, again, don't think there was any other surprise other than maybe their new addition, Jake Woodford, on the opening day roster, the player that they acquired from the Tampa Bay Rays just a couple days ago. So other than that, I think it's pretty much chalk. It's pretty much what we probably thought it was going to be. So let's start to hear those predictions. Let's start to hear your Brewers' thoughts heading into a brand new season here. Lots of baseball talk on the docket. It's a busy day. I mean, if you got the day off today and tomorrow and such, it's a good sports day because not only is it opening day with baseball, the Brewers Twins are also in action this afternoon. I know we got quite a few Twins fans, so they're going to be in Baltimore this afternoon. But you got the Sweet 16 also tipping off tonight. So you got baseball during the day and a little college basketball coming your way tonight. So you got Texas taking on Purdue, Iowa, Nebraska, Arkansas, Arizona, Illinois, Houston. Got a few teams representing the Big Ten tonight. So that gets underway as well. We've got Badger women's basketball. They're going to be taking on Harvard as part of their tournament run for the Women's Basketball Invitational. And then if you like a little hockey, you got Badger men's hockey also in action, taking on Dartmouth later this afternoon too. So, I mean, there's no excuse to say that there is nothing going on in terms of the sports world here today. You got a little bit of everything out there. So we'll chat about it all throughout this morning. It is also a Takeover Thursday. This is where it's your chance to act as a producer and such. So if you've got a topic that you would like to throw out there for consideration for the rest of us to kind of talk about and get everybody else's thoughts on, send it on over. All right, hit us up. We're open for business in that department. 8:30, as usual, we'll catch up with Jake Boakes, our DNR warden buddy, for a little tailgates outdoors. So, again, if you have any questions, hunting, fishing related, or anything like that, let's send them on over hit us up with a text so we can get those on over to Jake. It is also at ASAP Used Auto Parts, Conrad's Auto Salvage. Enough is enough. What's the sports narrative? What's the sports take story out there where you're just like, man, enough is enough with that? In case anybody cares anymore, the Bucks did play last night, and they still lost last night to the Portland Trail Blazers. So still not mathematically eliminated from the postseason, but man, it's got to be as close as it can get, because they're 9 games behind the now the Orlando Magic. Orlando and Charlotte tied for that 9th and 10th spot, but Charlotte holding the tiebreaker right now. But yeah, Bucks and Bulls both 9 games back here. So, but Bucks falling to the Portland Trail Blazers last night, 130-99. Ryan Rollins, he dropped 36 points in the game last night, but that was pretty much it. Zhang was 16, Prince coming off the bench with 13, and yeah, and I guess Sims with 12 points too. So not a great. I mean, no Turner. What else can we say about this Bucks team right now at this point in time? So, but they'll be back at it as they continue to roll along with this season, taking on the Spurs coming up in a couple of days here on the 28th on Saturday. So good luck with that one, going up against the Spurs. So, but yeah, we'll chat a little bit about the latest in terms of Giannis. Are we going to see him at all for this season or not? We'll tell you what Doc had to say yesterday. So, but that's kind of your game plan for us this morning. Let's get things rocking and rolling, shall we? I want to get your baseball picks. Start to hit me up. Start to fill up that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. Give us a shout, 715-830-1912. Join in on the Section 105 chat room on the YouTube stream. Heck, take it. I hope you're all donning your favorite baseball team here today, whether it's Brewers, whether it's the Express, whether it's the Twinnies. I don't care. I hope that you're donning you're repping your team on this opening day. So let's jump right into it. We got Intern Carter, who will be joining us here in just a couple minutes. We're going to take our first break right away so we can jump right into it. Lots of baseball talk coming up after these quick words. See, we do that. That's an annual tradition for us for the last few years. We open up the program playing one of the best monologues in sports movie history. A little Field of Dreams right there. A happy opening day to everybody out there. I feel like with baseball opening day, even if you're not the biggest baseball fan or a die-hard baseball fan, we all kind of get excited for opening day and such, just because I think it's just a different feeling towards it all. But where does this maybe rank in terms of one of your favorite sports days of the year, sports times of the year? I got my Freelick jersey on. Let's shout out to Brandon's mom if you're still listening. It's the Timber Rattler one that you guys picked up for me last year. So I'm repping that. We've got Intern Carter over there. He's repping his Jackson Cheerio jersey as well. Happy opening day, Carter.
Yes.
How would you say, is football your favorite sport?
Yes.
What would be next? Is it basketball, baseball, hockey? I know you're a big hockey guy.
I am. For sports-wise, it's baseball.
Is it baseball? Okay. So do you
for the love of it, yeah.
Yeah. So do you get it opening day? Is it it's just a different feel, I feel like, than any other
It is.
sport. I mean, NFL obviously makes it a big weekend kickoff. I don't know if it's just because it's like, okay, spring and summer's coming around here and the changing of the seasons a little bit and that such, but I don't know. It's a different feel. It just instantly puts you in a good mood, I feel like.
Yeah.
With opening day.
It's even different because obviously there's 162 games.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, likely the first one doesn't matter, but yeah, there's something about it that's just like, it's back, finally.
Yes. And, I think for a lot of people, maybe, for me specifically too, I know there is because I'm like with you. Football is, I'm a Packers fan, probably number one. But I would say over the last couple of years, I've probably grown a bigger appreciation for the game of baseball. And I don't know if it's just because, my kid's been more involved in it. And I would argue he would argue with me, but that's probably his favorite sport. He goes season by season and such. So it depends on the time of year that you ask him and that. But I think for a lot of us too, it was probably the first organized sport that we played on a team, whether it was T-ball or Little League or something like that. So I always think even though it's not our favorite sport, there's probably a soft spot in the heart for a lot of people, maybe my age or even older, because it was the first organized team sport that a lot of us played, back in the day. Again, whether it was T-ball or maybe softball or Little League or something like that. It was for me. It was the first time I, hit the field with a team that wasn't at recess or in the backyard or something like that. So, but no, it's a time of year too where I think everybody is optimistic and excited about their team. Maybe not the Giants anymore after last night and getting blanked by the Yankees, but Yankees got to be feeling, Yankees fans thinking 162-0. We're still on pace for that, but everybody is got a chance. So, but how do you like the Brewers this year? You a little optimistic, a little hesitant, or? I
think I'm pretty much the same as last year, where it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, I'm in the middle. Obviously, we saw them win 97 games last year, and likely that doesn't happen again. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we're going to see a ton of regression from this team. I know I was listening to a couple other radio shows, and they were like, well, where's the production going to come from in the outfield? Because Garrett Mitchell hasn't shown it. I mean, Blake Perkins and Lockridge, we don't even know if they're MLB players, but for me, it's like, we didn't have Mitchell last year. We had Blake Perkins starting in center, and the production just came.
And Isaac Collins in left. And
we're going to find a way to win games. It's just what the Brewers do. Mm-hmm. And so I'm more interested to see how their pitching staff shows up, kind of who's going to solidify themselves in the rotation, because you still do have Quinn Priester coming back eventually, and so somebody's going to have to slide out, but it's going to be fun.
Yeah, and I think with the Priester one, too, at least there is a little bit of flexibility. It might, if they want to keep those original 5 starters, Priester has shown, coming out of the pen, whether it was like a piggyback start or something, and I know that's something, we've talked about a lot, is the flexibility within this starting rotation and such. But since you brought up the outfield, I know that was one of your Takeover Thursday questions. Bowers is hitting, has got a hot bat right now. I mean, he is raking in spring training, finishing up with 7 home runs. I mean, nearly 500 batting average and such. And yes, he's had time playing in the corner outfield spots and left field. That's where I'd be kind of interested, and it's related to your question, given how poorly Garrett Mitchell offensively has played in spring training. I think baseball is such a sport where you got to play the hot bat. Whoever's the hot guy, you got to play him. And at this point, and Andrew Vaughn had a really solid spring training too. So I wouldn't be surprised if the lineup today, if they try to figure out, what, we may sacrifice a little bit of defense. Bauer starts in left, Cheerio in center, Vaughn at first, just to keep that bat alive, because I don't think you could put that on the bench to begin the year.
I mean, we've been talking about where the power is going to come from, but in spring training he showed it. So if he's that left fielder that provides it, then he's the cheapest option that you could get there. So,
and I know the Brewers always say they're not going to sacrifice, defense for offense. But I think if they've done it a few times, when you do put a guy like Jake Bauers out there, I mean, he's not awful. It's just the range is not going to be there like you would with a Cheerio and a Mitchell and a Frelick roaming in the outfield, or even a Yelich, in left field and such too. So, I mean, I guess that could be another option if they start Yelich in left field and Bauers at DH if they wanted to go that route. But I think they're pretty much set on Yelich just playing a handful of games in the outfield and trying to preserve him from a back standpoint and his health. So But I think, yeah, you've got to figure out a way. And I wouldn't be upset about it if Bowers and Vaughn are both in the lineup because, again, you got to play the hot bat right now. And why sit Bowers at this point?
Yeah. I do think the management, the coaching staff believes in Garrett Mitchell still. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason he's in the MLB and on the Brewers right now. So I do think he's going to get some playing time definitely early in the season. But like you said, I don't know why you'd keep Jake Bowers on the bench right now.
Yeah.
The way he's hitting. So ride the hot bat. Yeah.
And, I mean, Mitchell can come in as a defensive substitute or later on. And I agree. I'm not ready to give up on Mitchell after a poor, offensive spring training and anything like that because I think he's, still just this big unknown. I think the skills are there and the talent is there for a guy like Mitchell. It's just we haven't seen enough of it because the injuries have derailed his career so far, up to this point. And I think it does make it – I'm more comfortable this year and last year, but Cheerio has just gotten better and better and better in the outfield. So if he does play center, you feel comfortable about that, although – Frelick could play center and still play at a high level, too.
Frelick could play all three combined. And we'd be fine.
Yeah, exactly, right? So now if we get a repeat of the playoffs with him center field, and that was still one of the best plays, the best reaction of all time on that. So it's just, no, I'm curious on, I think, in the last two games, too, from their games against the Reds in Milwaukee, I think we got a glimpse of what Murphy is thinking the top four batters are going to be. On that lineup card. It's Cheerio at leadoff, it's Terang at 2, it's Contreras at 3, and Yelich batting cleanup. I mean, that's what we saw in the last two games there, which I get it. I like Frelick as a leadoff hitter. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where I would prefer at that point. But, I mean, I understand why they're doing it. I think the big thing for me is Cheerio going to be a little bit more patient at the plate this year? Last year we saw that especially in opening day, he was it 5Ks, I think he had against the Yankees. So that to me is probably one of the biggest things I want to see from Cheerio this year is maybe plate discipline. Is that continuing to get better for him?
And for a leadoff hitter, that's one of the most important things because the goal is to get the pitcher to throw a lot of pitches to kind of show his hand early. And so if you're chasing as the leadoff hitter, that's not a great position to be. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I would rather have Frelick there personally. Just because he's going to put a 7-pitch at-bat together. He's going to work the count. The pitcher's going to show his stuff.
Yep.
And that's what I like about Frelick. But they tried him last year. Murphy's good about moving the lineup around. If it doesn't work, he'll move it. So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's and I think, probably they ideally would like some consistency up there, but they're not afraid to adjust something or change something if they have to and such. So you got the Miz getting the ball to begin the day today. And normally, for a youngster making his first opening day roster, too, you'd wonder about butterflies and nerves. And I think I'm a big believer if you're not nervous, maybe you don't care a little bit, too. So, even to this day, if you're a tenured veteran, I kind of hope you still get nervous, that sort of thing. But Miz pitched in some big moments last year. So I think, this is something that he's not going to – you hope he's not going to be too wound up for and such. And I think it's going to be crucial for the Miz today to kind of keep those emotions in check and be successful early. Not get behind early, not struggle a little bit early with the command, not be too wound up right away. I think it's going to be really important for him to kind of, just keep those emotions. And he's a very emotional pitcher. And I don't think I want him to not be an emotional pitcher, but just right away, just to kind of set that tone and have some early success to gain that confidence right away. The nice part is he's playing the White Sox. So obviously, over under 4 innings, right? That's kind of where we're at with him. But if he can spot his fastball, he's going to do just fine because throwing 104 is not many people can hit that. So,
and that's the one thing I do worry about. I know there's that Pat McAfee, thing. I don't know. Did you hear this? So Mizorowski was on Pat McAfee's show a couple days ago.
If
he hits 104, they'll donate $100,000, which is awesome. I hope that's not what's on his mind though in this game. I just don't really wind back and blow out your elbow or anything like that. So, but I'm he also alluded to, really working on his changeup. So I'm kind of curious to see if that gets displayed today because, I mean, if you got a guy that is averaging nearly 100 miles per hour in his fastball, 99 point something, and then you throw a changeup where you're pulling that string back on it, I'm curious to see the drop. Like, what's the gap between his fastball and the changeup? Are we talking 5 mile per hour difference, 10 mile per hour difference? I mean, if this is a guy that can really get a changeup going mixed with that, and that slider, if that thing's working for him, that's a lethal arsenal.
I think his success this year kind of depends on the ability to locate his fastball.
Yeah.
Because at the end of last year, he struggled because hitters would sit on his fastball because he couldn't throw it for a strike and then hit his off speed.
Yep.
And so if he can locate his fastball, he's going to be one of the best pitchers. I don't even know if I want to say the MLB because obviously there are so many good pitchers. But he's going to be one of the best pitchers because how fast his fastball is. And he's got good off speed, but he's got to be able to locate it. So
Right. Yeah, no doubt. What are some of your Brewers predictions, peeps? Let us know. Text us. Hit us up with a message or what you got. I know last night for our post-Glassamere 715 Speaks poll question, we just simply asked, do you think the Brewers will make the playoffs? 97% of you saying yes. Yes. So if you believe, okay, so how many wins? How many wins do you think they're going to put out there? All right, let us know. Hit me up, okay? We'll take a quick break. Back with plenty more baseball talk coming up after these quick words. Looking for a great night out in the Chippewa Valley? Well, then you need to head to the VFW Post 305 located on Star Avenue. Come for the food, stay for the atmosphere. From crowd favorite fish fries to burgers, sandwiches, and daily specials, there is always something hot and delicious coming out of the kitchen. And it's not just about the menu with live music, theme parties, community events, and something new happening all the time. VFW Post 305 is where friends meet and good times happen. Great food, friendly faces, always something going on at the VFW Post 305. And a big shout out to them. Last night we had our coaches meeting for Little League over there too. So big thanks for hosting all the coaches and food and beverages too. So this is really cool. Our good friend Zach in section 105 of our chats, he's going to opening day today. However, he apparently is going to be one of the flag holders for the opening national anthem. So that's really cool. That's good. Don't be nervous, man. But it'd be hard not to be nervous for that. That's really cool. So that's awesome.
yeah, how'd he get that job?
It sounds like his aunt dropped a surprise on him, and they're going to be the flag holders for the opening national anthem with the big flag. So really, really, really cool. Nice. So, do you have any plans to head down to Milwaukee at all this year? Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get to a couple games.
Yeah.
Yep. Last year we got to. I coach a travel ball team in the summer, so my weekends are pretty stacked in the summer. But we got to a couple in August last year, which was really fun. We actually got to see the 8-0 comeback win last year.
Nice.
So that was a blast.
Nice. So, but what are your predictions for this upcoming Brewers season? How many wins do you have them with this year? How many do you have them going back to the postseason? What is your World Series prediction? All that fun stuff. Continue to send those on over. We'll get to those coming up here in just a little bit. But with what's maybe now that we've got the regular season here, what is the biggest question mark still remaining for this Brewers team as we head into this season? And I don't know if we could say something was answered in spring training, but I will say, I mean, from some of the younger starters like Sproat and Harrison, I feel maybe better about them now because we got to see them in action. It's one thing to say, okay, they're coming over, they're new guys, there's a lot of excitement and potential with them, but seeing them now, kind of get some action, especially in their last game against the Reds, I feel better. I feel excited about the younger guys coming in, the new younger pitchers with Harrison and Sproat. So
yeah, I almost feel better this year for our opening day pitching roster than last year.
I do too.
I just think there's more potential. I mean, I loved I didn't know about the Durbin trade, but I love bringing in Kyle Harrison. He's always been a top prospect, just bounced around, and the way the Brewers teach pitching, I mean, they can turn the worst reliever into the best. So I always loved that move, and I really think he may be our best pitcher by the end of the year. I think he's
Harrison?
Kyle Harrison.
Yeah.
I think he's got the stuff to be that. I mean, you saw in spring training the command he has on the fastball, his off-speed works. I think he's going to be one of the best pitchers this year.
I'm really excited to see a lot of our new pitchers. You throw in Zerpa coming out of the pen potentially too, and it's just I honestly feel like this Brewers team is kind of similar to, I think it was it the 2018, where if you got a lead going into the seventh, good luck, because you at that point you're handing the ball off to Josh Hader, sixth or seventh inning. You had Jeremy Jeffers, you had Corey Knebel, you had like three closers to hand the ball to, and now you look at, I don't know if Zerpa's going to be kind of that Josh Hader type of role, but then you've got Trevor McGill, you've got Uribe, two guys. I think it kind of gets forgotten that McGill was an all-star last year.
Yeah.
So you hand the ball off to those guys, even Jared Koenig in there too. I feel like if you got the lead and you hand the ball off to the back end of your bullpen there, you got to be feeling pretty confident that you're going to, and it's probably not going to be 100% success, right? But you're feeling pretty confident that you're going to come away with a W at that point.
Yeah, Abner Uribe in the World Baseball Classic looked untouchable.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got his stuff moving, so it'll be fun again.
Yeah, I think it's like, can they get enough offense to put up some runs and such? But, yesterday we were talking a little bit about Jackson Churio and such too, because he is entering year 3, and, he's still young as a kid, but baseball-wise, when do we stop saying he's young, in terms of experience and such? Because, and I know it's probably not the greatest comparison, but last year for the Packers season, it was Jordan Love's third year as a starter, and you had a lot of people saying, all right, we want to see kind of another step from Jordan Love entering his third year as a starter. Should we be saying the same thing about Jackson Churio this year for entering his third year as a starter? Everybody still assumes and everybody still says he's a future star. You look at all these top 10. I think I saw one the other day, the best hitters in baseball in the next 5 years. Jackson Churio's listed in the top 10 and all that. And, last year I know he was hampered a little bit with some injuries, but I give him credit for playing through a lot of them, especially towards the end of the season and in the postseason and such. But is it fair to say that we want to see maybe another step from Jackson Churio this year?
I think so, kind of depending on the step. I don't think he's a guy. He can hit 30 home runs. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he will. Mm-hmm. But I personally, this year, I want to see him take the step in pitch selection. He struggled with that. He struggled with swinging at strikes and chasing. And you look at his hitting when he's swinging at strikes, he is one of the best hitters in baseball.
Yeah.
When he's not, and he does it a lot, he struggles. He hits that stretch. And so I think he's 22 years old. Again, you said he's coming into his third season. I think that's a reasonable expectation to assume, hey, now go take that next step. You've had 2 years to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. No, I would agree. And then, Christian Yelich, too, it's like, do you still view him as a star? Is he a good player? Is he somewhere in between there and such? I know he just made an all-star game as a starter just a couple of years ago, and last year nearly hit 30 home runs, over 100 RBIs for the first time since 2018. So I think he could still put up those numbers, but I don't know if I'd still quantify him or label him as a star at this point.
I think for designated hitters, when you're just that, it's hard to call you a star.
Unless
you don't play defense.
Unless you're Schwarber and you're jacking almost 60 home runs.
Yeah, yep. And so I think Yelich is a really good leader. I think he fits well on this team. Obviously, he can still produce at the plate. I think he's just a good piece to this roster now. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say he's a superstar. I mean, if you were to ask a random person who they can name on a roster, I think Churio and Turang would come first. Because the World Baseball Classic got Turang a lot of noise, and Churio's been talked about for a couple years now. But Yelich still is getting paid a ton, so he still needs to produce at the plate.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see what Contreras can do this year, a healthy Contreras, and how much of a difference that's going to make. But, as many of our listeners have said too, it's, he's going to be such an important piece behind the dish, managing, calling these games with these young pitchers. Obviously Brandon Woodruff's on there. He's got a little experience with Miz from last year and Chad Patrick, but you throw in Sproat, you throw in Harrison, you throw in some of the, Zerpa and such. Contreras might be one of the, maybe the most crucial player in this lineup, just because not from an offensive standpoint. I think, that finger injury, I think, affected his offensive performance last year. But now, managing those guys, and we've seen it last year too when he was working with all those pitchers. He's kind of one of those guys that he'll get on a pitcher too. Like, hey, you could kind of tell from his reaction, settle down, calm down or anything like that. He, to me, is going to be, I think, a very critical piece to this team, not just from his offensive standpoint, but how he manages a lot of these new guys coming in now that from the pitching side. So.
I think he was one of the most underrated players in the team last year. I mean, even with an injured hand, he hit 260 with 17 home runs. And we had Joey Ortiz hitting 211 or something like that. So, I mean, he still produced at the plate. But again, like you said, his defense is what's most important to the Brewers.
Right.
And I mean, he threw out players last year. He calls a good game. So I think he's going to be great without the hand injury hitting wise. And he's always good behind the plate.
Right. And I think, the big part for me, I think, and maybe something that we haven't discussed a whole lot about, Freddie Peralta was no question a leader on this team. He was a guy, too, that really took Jackson Chourio under his wing and was just, that big leader in the clubhouse. Who kind of fills that role? Is it a Contreras that maybe steps up more into that? Obviously, Yelich is there too. Brandon Woodruff is a veteran, obviously, too. But that's something, too, that, with the loss of Freddie Peralta, obviously the talent and, I mean, just his consistency day in and day out, we kind of knew what to expect, that every 5 days is going to be Freddie Peralta because he's going to be healthy. You also knew it was probably just going to be 5 innings in Freddie Peralta. But I think one thing, too, especially Jackson's rookie year, Freddie Peralta was kind of that guy, that leader for him. And I'm kind of curious to see who's going to be that person that fills that void. But at the same time, I just feel like within that clubhouse with Pat Murphy and such, somebody, I don't think that's that big of I don't want to downplay it, but I feel like they're going to be able to fill that void.
Yeah, sometimes your coach is your leader, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. They've got players that, I mean, Andrew Vaughn, you can tell how he struggled. I mean, he's able to bounce back. Contreras, Yelich, they have experience on this team. It may be young experience. I mean, even Bryce Terang, for goodness sakes. That can be leaders. It's just, like you said, who. But with the manager we have, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be necessarily a pinpointed player that becomes a leader.
Right. All right. We got to take another quick break. We are just cruising through on this opening day, Thursday, March 26th. Let's hear from you, too. All right. We'll be right back after these few words. Looking for reliable auto service in the Chippewa Valley? Hey, look no further than AJM Automotive. With 2 convenient locations in Eau Claire, they make it easy to get the care that your vehicle deserves. Whether it's routine maintenance, maybe some brake work done, maybe you need to get some new tires in and such. But they've got friendly experts, honest advice, and quality service that gets you back on the road safely. If you want details on services, hours, maybe even some specials and deals and such, make sure first you're following their Facebook page, but you can also check out their website to make your appointment to ajmautomotiveservices.com. I got to make my appointment, too, to get my oil change and such before the busy summer traveling season. You mentioned ball. We got ball tournaments, too, and such, so got to get that oil change in there, too. So, all right, just a few minutes left to the top of the hour. We're going to save our Brewers predictions for a little bit later on. So get a few more minutes in to think about your predictions and such. With this Brewers team, though, we've talked about a few different players and such. which player are you most excited to kind of see how they perform this year?
For me, like, I'm interested to see how Garrett Mitchell performs if he can stay healthy. I still believe that he has the potential to play well and contribute on this team. I remember when he first was called up in the electric debut that he had.
Mm-hmm.
But him and then obviously the pitching staff. See, it's hard to pinpoint a player on this team for me because even Bryce Durang, like, I'm excited to see what he does after watching him in the World Baseball Classic.
Yeah, it is really hard because you can make a case for a lot of them, and I think that's, obviously with this team, and we keep using the word potential to describe them. So, the new pitchers, Miz taking another step, even Chad Patrick to this point. You mentioned Bryce Durang. I'm excited to see how he continues to just get better and better from an offensive standpoint. Jackson Churio, who we just talked about. Even Christian Yelich, like, can he do something similar to what he did from a power standpoint last year? And honestly, okay, here we go, Joey Ortiz. You get one more shot. So, and then, okay, Andrew Vaughn even, because which version of Andrew Vaughn are we going to get? Is it going to be the Brewers version, or is it going to be, latter end White Sox version? And I don't want, or the early version of his White Sox career where he hit over 20 home runs. I mean, he was a high first round pick for a reason. So even, you can point to a lot of different things. And I'm honestly, too, the other thing, I'm curious to see how the new structure of the coaching staff works. Because Pat Murphy is probably going to be thrown out at some point in these games. And they don't have your typical bench coach or what Ricky Weeks was the last couple of years as an associate manager. So, like, who's the person that fills in for that? And they kind of have their offensive coaches, defensive coach, little offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator vibe and pitching vibe. So I'm kind of curious to see this new structure, how this plays out and hopefully benefits the Brewers. So there's a lot to try to, pinpoint. And, we've speculated and talked about it all off season. We finally get to see it in action now coming up here. And I think that's the other exciting part of this too. So,
I mean, not to leave anybody out, Sal Frelick. I mean, he's fun to watch on a daily basis.
The GOAT. If he can get a little bit more power, that's not his game though. Just get on base. Yeah. Get on base, make some great defensive plays, and it'll be the summer of Salvatore again. So I wish I was Italian so I could, do that and get away with it. But man, see, I'm in so much baseball hype right now. I'm like, I want to look at some cards and buy a bunch of baseball cards, some Griffey Juniors, some Sal Frelicks and such. So I'm in that vibe right now. But all right, we only got a couple minutes left to the top. So send us your Brewers predictions. How many wins for this season? Who's the team MVP? And what's your World Series prediction? All right. Send those 715-830-1912. The starting lineup, by the way, Zach, that'll be announced later on this morning. So that it'll be day of. They usually put that out there. So that'll be probably in a couple hours when we're on or right after we're off the air. So, but I think we probably know the first four in that lineup just based off of it's probably going to be Cheerios, it's probably going to be Turang, it's probably going to be Contreras, and then Yelich. So I still say you got to put Bowers in there and try to, whether it's DH and you put Yelich in left field or put Bowers in left field, whatever. I think you still got to put him in there too. So, and probably Ortiz at short somewhere too. So I think we got a good idea of what it's going to be, but maybe the positioning on that lineup card. So, but anyways, send us your World Series predictions too. All right, you can send those on over. Hang out in the Section 105 chats. The boys over there going back and forth, or hit us up with a quick text on that Shoe Doctors bullpen line. We also got Sweet 16 tonight, or maybe you're checked out of the college basketball tournament right now because thank you, Badgers. But nonetheless, got some interesting games, interesting matchups tonight as well. Plus, Badger hockey men's team is going to be kicking off their tournament run this afternoon, too, taking on Dartmouth. So women's team, again, setting the bar high. So we'll see if the men's team can pick up a win and advance in their tournament run as well. So, all right, shot clock's going to cut us off. We got some news updates, and we'll be back to kick off the second hour after these quick words.